to Finding Calm in the Chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello, my friends. It's Denise. I'm back with another Finding Calm in the Chaos episode. And I've got a lot to talk about this episode. So I'm going to kind of like jump right in here. I've got like 2 pages of stuff written down here. I just was going nuts on this one. But I want to talk about something that I wrote down on a piece of paper, and I carry it around with me so that when I become overwhelmed or I start questioning the things that I've chosen to do in life, I read this to myself. And it basically says, Denise, this is a reminder that the universe is preparing you for what you asked for. And it's a truly powerful statement if you know what you, and if you don't get that, and I'm going to repeat it. That's why I said Genie in the bottle, right? The name of the episode. Because right now, the universe is preparing for you what you asked for. Think about that statement and then reflect on your actions and what you've been saying to yourself, your inner dialogue, your outer dialogue to people, and then see if that dialogue matches what you're getting back in energy from the universe. Because it's kind of scary how that matches up. And I got tired of being where that didn't match. I needed what I wanted to actually be what the universe was giving me. I didn't want to keep doing like asking for things and thinking of something, but not exuding those actions so that, you know, I mean, we're just stressed. We're in a society that is literally places value on staying in control and creating a life that's always like organized, structure, planned, calendars. I mean, I time block because honestly, I'd get nothing done if I didn't. But at least I'm time blocking like time for me and my family now. I never did before, and I never spent any time with them. So there's that, right? It's a practice that is leaving a lot of people, including myself, like stressed, depressed. And there are so many things that you can do to, you know, I learned how to, I don't meditate well, but I'm really good at manifestation, just sitting down and imagining. To me, manifestation, everyone's like, how do you do it? It's a daydream. Just get real clear on it and then put yourself in it. I swear it's that easy. I can smell it, hear it. I got music, everything. But just to learn how to like meditate, manifest, learn how to love, and an awareness that really I have found the only other way I could say it is has set me free from societal expectations. Especially I'm, you know, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm very type A, I'm OCD. Everything has to be in its place. And it's rough out there. And from a young age, we're taught, you know, make sure your grades are good, your bills are paid, you'll get a house, your career's on track, you'll have insurance, you'll have a 401k, you know, do this, you'll have a driveway at your little suburban house, or, you know, whatever your dream is, you know, and your family. And then when you don't meet every one of those on the perfect, you know, and in control list, and then suddenly you're like overwhelmed, stressed, depressed, freaking out. And you're like, why? Well, hello. Because we're living up to expectations that just are not expectations you could reach. And they're other people's expectations. Like, why can't we just live and we can, but why are we not being taught to follow our dreams and to think for ourselves And that our ideas, if they're outside of what everybody else is thinking, could be something we're onto. I mean, there are so many great leaders and thinkers in the world that people thought were insane, but our lives have been made so, they've changed how we live as a people. Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein. It's just insane. Musicians, not like current musicians. I mean, I guess so, but like, Bach, Mozart. These are people who had ideas that were outside of the norm at the time, and they broke that pattern, and people thought they were insane. But at the same time, the things that they broke away from, that common, structured, picture perfect scenario, changed the way everyone lived and made them, in most cases, more enjoyable or easier. And it doesn't matter like what it looks like from the outside, right? Because no one's ever truly in control, which is why when you think you're in control, people like me, we get even more freaky freak over it, okay? Because we're like, well, we're supposed to be in control, and I'm like the person who's in control, so why isn't this working out for me right now? And you're like, hey, oh my God, and you're up all night, and it's just insane. The health, the family we were born into, the bodies that we live in to an extent, right? Because I wanted to be like this amazing, healthy, travel the world kind of body. And instead, I got 5 autoimmune diseases and a bum ankle and a crap knee and Lyme's disease. So it's like you got to take what you got to get. They're all beyond our control. We can try as hard as we want for the contrary, but we're going to get what we get. And it's tricky. It's tricky to learn how to give up the desire for controlling, right? We actually desire to control things. We think we have control over things. We have control over nothing but our own thoughts and actions. Think about that. When you leave your house, there are a million bazillion things going on around you, and you have control over 0 of them except for your actions and your thoughts. Woo! If that's not a wake-up call. Somebody told me that once, and I was like, what? Like, literally, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor. I was like, okay, this has changed my whole life. But if you express gratitude and just understand that there are some things that you can embrace, I'm going to give you some tips. And it's going to tell you how you can literally just give it to God and live like in this little harmony with the universe. It's not necessary to be constantly in a battle, okay? So first, get your pen, right? Because here's the deal. Everybody says, keeping up with the Joneses, right? And we all lived to that in some manner. I mean, I literally spent 2 years in this house before I was like, all I did was talk nonstop about, we have to replace the mailbox. We have the worst mailbox on the block. Oh my gosh, everybody, we have the worst mailbox on my block. It's the worst. And you can't say anything because obviously I grew up in a dysfunctional family. They're still dysfunctional. You just have to accept it. I don't have to live it, but I can't change them. I can only change me. But here, like, I have my family coming over there and they're like, that's the ugliest mailbox on the block. You have so many weeds. Are you going to fix that fence? Because apparently I can just like call somebody out and dish up unlimited amounts of money, to just fix everything. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. I do have a new mailbox now and it's beautiful. Just thought I'd say that. Little tangent. You all know how I am. So the first thing, I wrote this little list. It originally was 25. Now I have it down to 9. That's how many I thought were important. I'm like, break it down, Denise. So one of the biggest feelings that I had when I was trying to control things and just things were going crazy, I'd snap off on all these, rage issues, and because things were just, I wanted to control and I had no control, and to even expect control is just ridiculous. But I needed to embrace the helplessness. Okay? Sometimes, like when I was at my most desperate, okay, this is where you kind of shine the brightest this is perspective. We talked about this on another podcast. I don't remember which one, if it was last week, week before, I don't know. But it's perspective, right? The coin toss. Because when you're at your most desperate on one side of the coin, that means that you're shining bright on the other side. Because you have arrived at a point of surrender. And this like literally occurs when you realize that whatever you're up against is out of your control and you just can't. And you just have to embrace helplessness, right? You're not a victim anymore because you embrace a truth from an empowered perspective. You draw strength just letting go from the struggle, right? You're ceasing to resist. You're embracing your inability to control the situation. You're embracing the helplessness because when you arrive at that point of surrender, that's when you let go of all that stress and you give it to God, right? Give it to the universe, whatever you believe in. I give it to God. And when I started doing that, I'm like, what was wrong with me all these years? Spent so much time fighting the religious institution I grew up in than to just realize I didn't need a middleman. I could have an even closer and better relationship with God and Jesus myself. Oh, it's beautiful. Let me just tell you, it's beautiful, guys, when you do that. And I know some of you know that. Tune into kindness, right? Love. I'm not asking you to be like loving up on people, strangers in the street, but I'm asking you that love equates to a lot, right? Love is the force that moves the universe, right? It's grace, it's helping, it's caring, it's sharing, it's disciplining when destructive behavior arises, right? It's tolerance, it's understanding. Love is so much more than an emotion, and it's always available. You just need to find it. That's why my slogan is lead with kindness. Because some people get a little, I don't know that person. I don't want to love them. Because sometimes people are simply being ridiculous and I don't want to love on them either, but I will give them kindness because sometimes they need that. And kindness stems from love. And that is the force that moves the universe. And when we prioritize that in our life, we start attracting more of it for yourself and myself. I am a testimony to this. When I let it go and started leading with kindness instead of barking off on people and seeing how many people I could tell off in a day to prove a point, it got so much easier. So much easier. Practice this and you will watch everything will fall into place for you, okay? Without any control or input for you, only kind intentions. You're going to watch, everything will change for you. And you cannot, so basically we're holding on to this concept, right? We're going to tune into kindness. But then the third one, I almost forgot where we were, was we need to release what we cannot hold. We are why do we feel we need to hold all this stuff, this heavy stuff? And again, I've talked about this in the past, and I'm really sorry that they have, if you're not a person of faith, but I'm telling you, people of faith, we need to keep telling others. We need to keep preaching. We need to keep talking about God and what he does. And this is the most beautiful thing, is that we all, most of us, live in a state of reaction. And our sense of control relates how we handle those things that we think we have. And what is control? It's basically how well or fast you're able to react to what we can't control. Think about that. What is control? It's how well or how fast we're able to react to what we can't control. It's insane. Literally, I was enlightened. That's the only word I can think of. You are enlightened once you release a sense of control. Okay? There are many like traditions in this world that believe that you don't even know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes of your life. That you have literally, I forget what it is. I read a ton of stuff, guys. I never sleep. But that in the next 5 minutes of your life, you don't even know what's going to happen. You need to learn how to relax and let go of the control. This was very hard for me, but because I have faith, that is one of the biggest things. If you remove organized religion from it, and I'm just going to do this. This worked for me because I grew up Roman Catholic and I struggled with this religion. I didn't choose it. My parents chose it for me. I can tell you, it severely abrupted my life. It abrupted it. Is that even a word? Disrupted it. It threw a wrench in it, peeps, okay? Because I could not understand a religion, okay, that could contradict itself so much. And I knew this even as like a teen and a tween, sitting in mandatory church in Catholic school and having them say one thing, and mind my age, okay? Mind my age. But they would talk about how, Jesus loved everyone and accepted everyone. And then the Catholic Church would bash somebody. I couldn't understand that. But I always had a sense of minding my own business. So what is good for me is not good for the gander. People, these things exist for a reason, these sayings, okay? I didn't make that up. They've been around forever, okay? If your lifestyle is different from my lifestyle, knock your effing socks off, peeps. I'm happy for you. I hope you're happy for you. But what I do in my house is my business, and what you do in your house is your business. And we cannot just intermingle them. And I couldn't deal with this middleman between me and God. And I'm sorry if some people are offended by that. But essentially, I could not justify why I needed to speak to a priest instead of speaking to God directly for forgiveness. It's almost like a shame component, I felt, to make sure that you obeyed. And I was just not okay with that. And so, of course, I left the church. But I kept getting called back. And my friend Becky will say, it's because that Holy Spirit was hanging on to you. She was hanging on to you, Denise, just waiting for you. And she was right. And I started diving into my spirituality on my own about maybe 5 years ago now. Last 2 years, 3 years have been real heavy, deep into it. With the help of Becky and her husband, Brad, who's also a pastor in Ada, Oklahoma. And it really, I called her one day, I left her a message, and I said, it was in the morning too, because she knows how I am. I'm up all night and I come up with these ideas, and I'm like, okay, I really feel like I need to know where to take the next step. But I feel like right now I feel closer to God because I got rid of the middleman. And she was like, praise Jesus. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, okay. Somebody gets me. But she understood because her faith, they just go right to it. There isn't that, right? And I don't want to get into what she is and what I was and whatever, because it doesn't matter, right? Because our faith is directly to somebody. And that allows me to release all of this and just give it to God without being embarrassed that I got to go in and share some things I need to with a priest. It's going to make me sit there while he's probably staring from the back while I say some prayers he told me to say for contrition. And I'm like, this is just so not, it's not necessary. We don't need a middleman to God. We're all his children. Nobody's more special than the other person. No one is. Sorry, not sorry. But once you release this constant sense of control and you just give it away, right? Look at it from a different perspective. It allows you, it's part of the growth process. You learn to relax, you let go of your control, because while you may be in control of yourself on some levels, your life's not meant to be micromanaged. It allows yourself to experience life, with like wonder and joy and seeing the beauty. Again, God goggles. I'm going to use that word a lot because my friend Brenda Cooper wrote a book called God Goggles. And I believe it's a 60 or 90 day devotional. And it's very short, but there's so much reward in this book, in that sometimes when life is overwhelming, you just need to put on your God goggles and see, we're looking with all of these stresses and control issues, but we need to understand that we don't need to have any of that. That's why he sent his son to us, and that we can let it go. He will carry that for us. We're good, right? He's got us. And then we need to put on our God goggles to see what he sees, the beauty in it all, and the security in that he's always there for us. And that's why I understand when people have no faith, because I understand that religious organization is cray at times, but also my heart breaks because I know that so much stress could be released if they had this basic concept. I mean, that's really the whole concept of faith, right? You don't have to see it. It doesn't have to be tangible. It's faith, but it does so much more to our bodies and to our health and to our spirituality and to our mindset. So you already know what you know, but why not experience something new and potentially beneficial by just releasing what you cannot hold and looking at the world in a different perspective? And I'm going to do one more. I don't really care. Number 4, this is hard. Observing nature. Okay, so I'm going to read this because I am not really good with, I'm new to my spirituality and doing devotion. So, and plus I can't ever remember anything. I don't know what I did 20 minutes ago, let alone, I know I wrote it down here. Oh gosh, now I hope I can read it. So observing nature. So Jesus, said, "Consider how the lilies of the field grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his glory was adorned like one of these." And that's in Matthew 6:28. So you can use this wisdom as like a lesson to learn from nature, right? Looking at how nature really is. It's giving. It allows us to observe its beauty, the synchronicity of it all. I mean, there's nothing better than for me, than to sit out on my deck, no matter what season, and just listen to the trees, the branches, the wind, the smells, the different noises, the birds chirping. I have different kinds of birds in the backyard because it's like a forest back there. And it's bountiful. And as much as we feel alone sometimes in this world, our life, it's no accident, okay? Whether you believe in God or the universe, put them together, okay? It is conspired to give us experiences. It's already laid out. It's around us and you, me, because we're a part of the universe. So if we see ourselves as part of the works rather than just an observer, that changes things, right? We're not in the world. We are the world. And I think a lot of us, especially me, I felt so, and it's kind of cocky actually and conceited to think that you're like this singled out and the world's out to get you. I honestly used to feel that way, like down to like the depths of my soul. Okay. And it's kind of conceited. It was in my situation, because the world isn't out to get us. We are actually part of the world. We are part of the works. We are the unit of the world. We're not an observer. And when we observe, we're missing out on life. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to take a quick break to one of my favorite sponsors, and we'll be right back. Hey friends, I've got a question for you. How much do you love your dog? This was an easy question for me. Lots. As I started to look at the ways I could increase her quality of life, I realized there were just too many options. How was I going to choose? That's why I partner with my friends over at Pet Matrix. Taking a scientific approach, they combine organic, natural compounds with highly effective peptides to aid in my dog's health journey. All you need to really know is that the results are nothing short of amazing. All I had to do was sprinkle the dry formula onto her food once a day, and I've got my Shiba back. Our Princess Chica has been using these products for more than 6 months now, and Pet Matrix has given our 14-year-old Shiba Inu the energy back in her stride. She's out in the yard taking steps in a single bound and chasing down the bunnies. I also shared Pet Matrix with my mom to help with her 15-year-old Chihuahua Molly. And like a lot of dogs, Molly is tightly wound like a rubber band when it comes to fireworks. Adding a little of the Pet Matrix Calm to her water every morning gave Molly her first 4th of July without the shakes and crying. And that's what we want for our dogs. Pet Matrix helped me understand that building around the 3 pillars of health, immune and gut support, cognitive function, and mobility and inflammation, we can not only increase their quality of life, but also increase their quantity of life. Chica and I are all in. You can check out Pet Matrix at www.mypetmatrix.com and tell them Denise sent you, because we love family-owned businesses. You will receive a 15% discount using promo code Denise15 at checkout, so you can help your furry babies be all they can be. Again, that's www.mypetmatrix.com and receive a 15% discount with promo code Denise15 at checkout. DENISE 15. All right. We're back. We are back, and we're talking about this episode appropriately titled, because I couldn't think of anything else, Genie in the Bottle, because the universe is actually right now preparing to send us what we're asking from it. So if you are not getting out of life what you feel you want, we need to start looking at what we're asking for, because we can't sit down for one day a week and write a gratitude list and, buy somebody a cup of coffee in the line at Starbucks behind us because we're paying it forward, or drop money in a diaper box at the store, the Wealth Wednesdays, Giving Tuesdays. We need to live this every day. We can't fool energy. You can't fool God. We need to make sure that we are on 24/7 with our energy. And it's easy to do, because bad energy is just as easily good energy, right? Bad thoughts are just as easily good thoughts. Bad actions are just as easily good actions. And all of the above are habits. And bad habits are easily converted to good habits, because they're just that, habits. They just need to be done habitually, day after day, and then it is effortless. So, things that we can do to help get this energy and release stress and get out of life what we want. Right? We live in the world of placing value on staying in control and creating this life, keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, they literally named the show keeping up with the Kardashians. Nobody can keep up with them. But are they keeping up with themselves? Something to think about right there. That's a whole nother episode. But we were talking about releasing what you cannot hold, observing nature. We always are looking at the universe as kind of a relationship of not understanding that we're a part of it rather than observing it. And when we start acting like we're a part of it, things start changing, like dramatically. This one, I don't understand why more people don't do this, but showing gratitude. Because I'm telling you, when I started doing daily gratitude, and I just write down 5 things, sometimes it's the same thing. And when I say gratitude, you don't have to think really hard about this. Sometimes I wake up and what I'm super grateful for is my damn cup of coffee. And it might be coffee, my husband, God, bacon. Sometimes it's just God and sunshine. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. Doesn't mean I love anybody less. It's just right then I needed coffee. I'm just saying. That's how easy it is to express gratitude. The world naturally softens when you start writing down first thing in the morning and setting that bar for the day, what you are gratifying for, right? What you're grateful for. I totally screwed that word up. There's something powerful, though, about being authentically thankful. It's just something authentically powerful about that. It just is. When you're thankful and you're grateful for stuff. And when you start turning that and looking inward into yourself, it's transcendent. Like it's taken me to places I never thought I'd be able to go. When you're thankful for the small things that pop up in your life, these are things, right? Little things starts popping up, right? You're thankful. All these little things start happening. Little good thing here, little good thing there. You haven't found that special dark chocolate select, like small brand of vegan chocolate, this bar I love. Oh my God. You walk into the store and all of a sudden it's there, but it's been like non-existent for like 2 years. That's gratitude coming back at you. It's changing you. It's changing the energy. I know that sounds silly, but I'm telling you, it's little things like that that make your day. The more gratitude you show, the more your life is going to be open to this kind of relationship with God and the universe. There's a trust that's established. You literally, the universe and God, will send those vibration energies back to you, period. You just need to trust and show the dang gratitude. You can't do it once a week. You can't do it for a month and then stop. When I don't get up in the morning and write down my gratitude and do my little manifestation, it's like 15 minutes of just a manifestation morning meditation on YouTube. If I don't do it, my day's wrecked because I allow all of this bad habits, right, creep in, and I'm still establishing these good habits. So when I don't do that, it's horrible. And I can tell when it happens. So then I got to catch myself and be like, where's my gratitude book? Because you know what? Just because you didn't do it at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, if you're having a really bad day and it's 1 o'clock and you've finally figured out that that is going to change your day, do it. The universe and God don't care when you're grateful. Okay? They don't care if it's at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. But make sure you're keeping that energy consistent. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. I've done it sometimes before I've went to bed because I'm like, what is going on right now? Oh, that's right. I need to write that down. Let's see. What's another one here? Okay. So increasing your self-awareness. So this is so important because awareness of your thoughts is important in order to start doing self-evolving practices, right? The more you listen to your own mind, the more you realize the role it plays in your life. Okay. You need to make sure that you are understanding what you are telling yourself. So it is basically a statistic that the person who bullies and abuses you the most is yourself. Our daily thoughts that we tell ourselves every day. Think about it. How many, I suck at this. I just did it now. Think about what I just said. So I was actually trying to give an example. So here's me. I'm getting better. This is how so I basically just said I suck at it, that I have stuff creep into my mind that is negative against myself. So I basically just told myself that I suck. But what I'm going to correct that now, because I can catch them and I can state, you know what? I am working on having a better relationship with how I talk to myself. There's that. It's getting better, but some of it still creeps in like just then. But it's so off cuff that we're used to it. And it becomes normal negative self-talk. So normal that we don't even notice it. But I challenge all of you to get a piece of paper, and every time you open the fridge and you're like, oh, I'm so stupid, I forgot to buy milk. You're like, oh, I hate my hair. Oh, why won't these nails ever be nice? Oh, my pants are so tight, I'm so fat. We don't even have to voice it out loud. The amount of times I negatively self-talk to myself in a day, one time I wrote it down for a week. I stopped after 3 days because I almost used up a whole notebook because I forced myself to write down what I was writing and how I could then sit down later and write how I could properly talk to myself so that it wasn't negative, to change my energy patterns. That's how intensive I was about making sure that I changed my energy. And it was worth every single practice that I did, because the energy I've changed for me and my family. My husband, Mr. Sith, is involved now. Peter loves to manifest. He is the little manifesting crystal king. He will sit down and pray to God for things. I just love that he has seen what we do, and they mock what we do, and they watch, they imitate, not mock. I'm sorry. But awareness is everything, right? Meditation, manifestation, huge in helping you increase your self-awareness, right? Just by working on clearing negative thoughts will naturally help you begin to trust more, because you don't trust yourself. You don't realize why we don't trust people, because literally we are the biggest abusers and negative self-talkers of ourselves. Us. Truth. It is what it is, right? But that's a big deal. Listening, number 7, listening to your intuition, right? It's a guidance system. Your intuition is an inner guidance system for your life. I don't know anybody who's ever been in a situation where you had that feeling and you went against it and you were like, dang it. Oh. Shoulda listened. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. And we need to shoulda. It comes from a higher part of our conscious, and we often just ignore it, right? Or it's unheard. Some of us are in such a cloud we don't even hear it. I didn't hear it for years. Or we misinterpret it because we think we want something so bad, and we do it anyway, even though that little voice and that little feeling is saying, probably should stay away from this one. Nope. Okay, I'll be here. I'll be here when you're done making another bad decision. Honestly, my poor subconscious, like it had to have been beat up for years. And, it's part of, so for me, I recommend that people, this is what worked for me. I am not a meditator, okay? Like I said, I can manifest like down and dirty, but I cannot, because it's like a daydream to me, and I'm totally okay with that. I can put myself anywhere, and it's probably why I'm so good at manifestation. But I'm telling you, when it comes to meditation, I struggle a little bit more, but I find it easier at night. And I will always make sure that I'm listening to, I love, what's his name? I think his name is Jason Stevenson, on YouTube. He's got some great stuff. I do like some Hertz music, some listening, Dr. Joe Dispenza, lots of stuff depending on what you need and what works for you and what, everybody has their own style. It's like books and motivators, right? Everyone has their own sound, their own style. They might all say the same thing, but you might receive it only from one because it was your style. And it's the same with meditation, but it really helps when you're doing it in your sleep, because I found that obviously my subconscious is picking it up and I was hearing it more, because while I'm awake, I was having issues. But when I was tired and I was resigned to it, I would be up for maybe half of it, and then the other half I'd be fine. But every time I woke up, I feel wonderful, right? But intuition can never be overstated, okay? It is the guidance that's coming from our souls, right? And this is directly linked to God's path for us. Universe, again, God, universe to me is interchangeable, whatever your beliefs may be, okay? But you need to listen to it, right? Sometimes we have to learn, okay, we're already trying to navigate our mind, but we also have to learn to navigate our soul at a higher level so that we can get more out of life. That's the whole point of being here. We're not here indefinitely. And I'm always shocked when people are like, oh my God, that person died. I had no idea. How old were they? 92. Okay. I mean, you had to have had an idea. We don't live forever. And everybody has a different health situation that you don't know about. We're all here for a particular amount of time. We're not going to be here forever. We're all going to die. So we need to have that, take that situation and live it to the possible level we can, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and see what our purpose is here and get the most out of this world while we're here. It's, regret is a horrible thing, right? But you could regret things and then just move on. But you have to do it today. And you're never too old. I mean, I've changed like how many times? I'll be 53 next month. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, right? But you just got to do it. What's really helpful in today's world, I'm going to do number 8, to me is very, very, very important. I got 2 more here. Acknowledging life's grace. Every person is going through something, right? We sometimes tend to focus more on the negative than the grace that life bestows on us. And we need to try to understand that attention to the negative, right? All of the hustle and bustle is what drives the inner control. It's what is driving the freak about it, right? And if we're seeking to build a relationship of trust with God, we need to spend some time on focusing how good it is to us. That's why, even more than gratitude, is kind of redirecting perception, right? Because like I talked before, I've said this many times, no matter what issues, no matter how serious you're facing, there is always an element of grace involved, right? Everything from every breath that you take, your family, work, friends, they're all meant to be a blessing from the universe. All aspects of your life can be fulfilling and blessed if you choose to view them like that. Let me tell you that again. Every aspect of our life experiences can be fulfilling and filled with blessings if we choose to see them that way. Literally stop right now and literally notice how beautiful the sunlight's coming in to your car, reflecting off the window. I don't have sunlight right now, so I'm looking at how it's making the wind is already changing the leaves here in the Midwest, right? Beginning of September, Labor Day weekend. I think that's what I'm at. And the flag's blowing, the U.S. flag, and it looks beautiful. I can see the flowers from the hostas below me in the front. Appreciate random smiles from strangers. That's why I always say, when I'm out and people look at me, I smile. And when I smile, I don't just smile when I'm preoccupied. I look them right in the eye and I give them a smile. So they know my smile is for them. I'm connecting with them. When you look at someone in the eye, you are connecting with them from as a person, as a being, as a human. We are connecting with them. You know, let's throw all this mask stuff aside, right? Because it's changed a lot how we're looking at each other. Because we hid behind computers for the longest time. And then we all became keyboard warriors. And then we all became keyboard trolls. And then 2020 and 21 happened. And then we hid behind a mask and became nasty outside the house too. That's BS. Because if you can smile behind a mask. And if you really mean it, you can see it in your eyes. You can say you smiled, but if your eyes look miserable, you didn't smile. You weren't feeling it. So I always look at people. That's why when you talk to people, this is another thing. I'm going a little bit on a tangent here because I was always taught that when you speak to somebody, you look them in the eyes. And I'm actually shocked how many people in today's new world will not look at people when they speak to them. They look to the side, they look down, they move their face around, but they will not speak to the person looking in their face. I'll be honest with you. I am not a fan of that. However, I keep thinking I'm going to look at them. I'm going to look them, and every time I get a chance, I'm going to catch their eye, and I'm going to smile at them. And I want them to know that I am seeing them, and I am hearing them. I may not agree with them, but I am hearing them. And I don't need to argue with them. I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is be like, well, you know what? I honor that those are what your life is and what your beliefs are. And although they're not mine, I respect you for that. End of subject. You don't need to carry on. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to do any of that. But redirecting our perception in life is huge. Taking time to notice little things make a huge difference. Because once you start paying attention to these little tiny things that go your way, as little as I went to the store, like I said, and your little chocolate bar's been in stock and it hasn't been for years. That's a sign. That's a sign. Celebrate it. Celebrate everything. I walked out of my house today and I remembered to brush my hair instead of just walking out from bed because I'm usually a mess because my house is mental in the morning. And I went to the store today. I put moisturizer on. I got out of the shower and I put on moisturizer. That's a big achievement for autoimmune people, I'm going to tell you right now, because I get so tired just being in the shower, and sometimes it's painful based on whether or not you're flaring. That the fact of even putting on lotion after I get out of a shower is like I've just been attacked by knives, and now you want me to like rub it? Nope. So like I put on lotion this morning, and I'm like, I put on lotion. I put on lotion. I put on lotion. I'm silky smooth, silky smooth. I mean, you know what I mean? Enjoy it. Embrace it. Who cares? I mean, if you're walking down the aisle of a grocery store and something's there, I mean, I want you to be like, woo! Cheez-Its. I don't care. Like, who cares? I bet you people will smile around you. Because if you literally are happy and you walk down an aisle and you find something in the store that you want and it brings you joy, and you literally grab that box or bag and you go, woo! Oh my God, I love this. And you smile, everyone around you will be smiling. They may think you're nuts, but I bet you they're like, wow, maybe I need a bag of one of those. Just saying. Those are the things we need to be, right? There's a lot of unsavory elements in life in general. It's extremely benign to us. Tune yourself into the awareness of these little things, and more of them are going to show up in your life. And let's hit on the last one here. Sorry. I just think these are so important, and these little practices just mean so much, you know? Seek oneness. So what I mean by this is, okay, so I really had to look into the, what's the word I'm looking for? So like the unifying principles of my life for the truth of who I really was. Because again, we grow up not choosing anything. We don't choose our name. We don't choose our city. We don't choose our religion. We don't choose our school. We don't choose any of that. Okay. We don't really start making decisions until like we're in our 18, 19, but it's like around 16, 17, you know, like 16-year-olds. And they think they know everything. They want everything their own way, because that's when you kind of have the realization that you chose nothing for yourself in life, and you kind of got an opinion on what you want to do. So when you look at it that way, they're just really finding out. Now, are they always right? Probably not. But when you help them understand, you know, I want to look at Pete as a teenager, and even now, when he has his situations, I want to embrace that he is showing me a unique characteristic of himself. And it may or may not be something that is something that we're currently doing. And I'm trying to explain this in the way I want to embrace any ideas that he has that he is running with. You know, he's a huge engineer. He mined, STEAM, STEM, building, math. I mean, literally, true story, another tangent. I know this one's running late, but real quick, you know, we're in a Christian co-op. I'm a homeschooler. We have a homeschool Christian co-op that we go to once a week, has classrooms, real teachers. We pay the teachers directly. So he's got ideas in STEAM with a PhD this year. So he'll be in that class with her. And then he's got phonics with a specialist. And then we've got math and science with the teacher he had last year because he loves her. And so she was talking to me about, like I said, you know, what I like to do as a homeschooling the other days of the week. You know, what are you emphasizing this year so that I can touch on those things at home? And so I didn't ask her about math. I just asked her about science. And she goes, in math, we're going to be doing fractions. And here's me. Oh, okay. Well, I don't do math, let alone fractions. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do fractions. And then she starts talking to me like it's like easy. And she's talking about all these different fractional things they do. And here's me. Yeah, again, I know nothing about, I don't do math. Like I do something, you could do math. That's why we're hiring you. Like, look, we're paying you, hon. No, daddy does math. And so like you could talk to daddy because I don't do that. But Pete does math. So I had my husband go through like worksheets with me and stuff like that from the site that we go to for homeschooling, just so that I can make sure I'm up to date on what she's going through, because I don't understand it. But I told him, like, you're going to have to help me with this because I can't review to see if it's right. I have no clue. And better yet, I don't care because it's just not me. Like, I got you on reading and art and science and all this other stuff. But when it comes to the math and engineering stuff, yeah, that's on you, Mr. Sith, because I ain't got any of that skill. It's just not my forte. But I want Peter, I want him to grow in those skills. I want to nurture them and foster his interest in those. And just because I'm not interested in them doesn't mean I want him to squash those dreams. And I'm not saying that happened when I was younger, but it happened when I was younger. If my parents weren't interested in taking us to sports, my parents were interested in like extracurricular activities, we were kind of on our own. And it was kind of like a thing in the generation, but you know, it would have been nice to like go to games and stuff and or have people come to the stuff you were interested in. I went to organize stuff for quite some time. None of my family came. Half my family didn't even know I was in stuff because we all did our own thing. And I just don't want Peter raised that way. It's not how I didn't like it. So I don't want it to be that way for Peter. And that's all you can do, right? I can't control anything else. And so just really taking an interest in who you are, what you do, how you live, your health, your family, your work, right? It's not meant for the sake of manipulating, analyzing it, or even taking charge of these things. The intention here is just passive enjoyment and maybe like passive study. But your fear and control are what seek arise like that. That's arisen from the concern about the unknown. And so if you're engaging in the world more, you're comfortable more. And that's personal life as well as the large global picture, right? You can do it both practices. You can try looking at your life as well as yourself from the different perspectives, like we just talked, and embrace it all into one. And that is a very powerful act that can bring harmony, trust, awareness. Definitely will bring it into your awareness, just the harmony and trust in itself, and will help release your just incessant need to control everything. And just, where everything is just, you want things, but you don't know how to do it because you don't understand why the universe and God are passing things to you. And they're not passing anything to you. You're just playing in the wrong field of energy. And so these little things, go back, listen, write them down. I numbered them for you. And until next time, have a great day and lead with kindness. Thank you, friends, for spending this time with me today. If you found some calm listening in, please take a moment to subscribe to Finding Calm in the Chaos. And just so you don't miss out on future episodes, make sure you're receiving notifications. Thanks again. Until next time, lead with kindness.